Hey guys, guess what? We're not in the car today. It's Charles and Z, and we're actually doing a little bit of, I guess this is kind of light breaking and entering.
A little bit. Where are we? You can tell them.
So we are in our house, which has been being built for the last 7 months, and we're just about ready to close on it. And we're in one little section of it here.
And so tell them a little bit what we decided to talk about today.
Okay, so today we're gonna do a little questionnaire about our relationship.
What was I wearing the first time we met? Oh, I remember.
Okay. Oh, so I'm.
That's- I'm gonna do
this
you.
This is what
I knew what you were wearing.
I'm saying what I was wearing or what you were wearing.
Let's see if you remember both.
Okay, so I was wearing my jeans and button-up shirt that is purple that I still own, and you were wearing your romper, which I think was kind of black and gray, and I don't think you still own that.
I still own it, and you're correct. So I had this little cute, I think you're right. It's like black and grayish, kind of maybe dark navy blue. Still look cute in it. Okay, I had the legs out all oiled up. And yes, you were wearing purple because it's my favorite color.
You told me.
And I remember in our first date, we were waiting for seats to become available in the restaurant. So we were sitting outside. And Charles was just looking at my legs. And I was like, if you don't look at my face, right? I mean, my legs were looking good. But for the first date, I wanted him to focus, looking me in my eyes and talking to me. But yes, I still own that. And you know what? I appreciate also the effort that you put in place to wear my favorite color. I don't know if I told you that, but that was a plus there.
So have I gotten any less creepy since our first date?
Probably more creepy, but I've learned to appreciate it. Okay.
Let's see.
So 5. What was my dream? I'll ask it. What was my dream job as a kid?
Okay. I know you've wanted to be a doctor since you were like in your early 20s. But did you always want to be a doctor?
Well, I'm not gonna quiz you on that. So yes, right? I remember when I was younger, I got a gift, those little toy gifts where you have the stethoscope, you have the syringe and scissors, like a little doctor kit. And I remember going around like pretending to stab with a syringe my dolls. And I don't know why, it just intrigued me at that time, and I always stuck with it. Now, over time, when I got out of college, did I kind of take other career paths? I did, but I eventually came back to medicine. But I think when I was a child, from 7, 8, all the way up to high school, I always said that I wanted to become a doctor. What about you? I don't know for you, so I'm not even gonna try.
I don't think I ever had any idea what I wanted to do for my life, and I don't know if I know now.
Oh. So when someone would ask you as a kiddo, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? You didn't you just did. I don't know.
No, I did. I don't know. I went to school for accounting, which I kind of sort of use sometimes.
Yeah.
But I still don't know what I want to do.
What would be if money wasn't a factor? This is off topic, but if money wasn't a factor and it was just for enjoyment of it all, what would be your dream job right now?
Oh, creating. Being like a creator, like content creator. It's
like a YouTube content.
Yeah, like a YouTube content creator.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun. I like thinking of storylines. I like filming. I like editing. I like that kind of stuff.
I can see that. Okay. Now you'll ask. This is our round 2, and so I'll let you ask the first question.
Okay. What's one thing about our relationship you didn't expect but love? Ooh, that's a good one.
Do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, I do. So I'm going to say your family.
I wasn't expecting that.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, I knew you had family, but like going in, it was a long time before I met your family, and meeting your family. I met your family in South Florida. I met your family in Jamaica, and it's been really nice. It's been really nice, experiencing everything they're about.
You mean like the different culture? What is it for you about my family?
Their culture, traditions, hearing their stories, where they've come from, why they've come, what they're doing. It's really nice. It's really nice. And I never thought about it. I knew you had family, and I knew obviously they're not like similar background to my family. But at the start of our relationship, I never actually realized, oh, well, I'm becoming related to like all these people who have like vastly different experiences than me.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I wasn't really expecting that, but I could see that.
I like it.
I think for me, going into my 30s, I was single when I started off my 30s, and I thought I was very stuck in my ways. This is what I would accept, from my partner. It has to be this way. And I think I'm pleasantly surprised that I think you take me out my comfort zone. For example, when we first met, or the first 2 months of meeting, you wanted me to drive out to, it was Halloween, it was October 31st. You wanted me to drive out to this farm, right?
A pumpkin patch.
A pumpkin patch, right? And this was gonna be the first time that I met our 2 older kiddos, which were my bonus babies. And it was gonna be the first time that I met your dad. Mm-hmm. And I can remember I was in my apartment, because I lived an hour away at the time while I was in residency from Charles. And he was so excited. He was like, can you come out and, you'll meet the kiddos and you'll meet my dad. And he's like, this place is about an hour and a half. And I was like, no. First thing, it was, no. And if you know me, I don't enjoy driving.
Now, how long have you been dating at that time? We've been dating like a month and a half.
Yeah, it was like a month and a half. Yeah. But, I knew that there was potential with Charles. It was at that point where I should meet the kids and meet his dad. And if you know me, just backstory, I love to be a passenger princess, okay? Now, if I have to, out of necessity for work or things like that, I will drive. But otherwise, I'm not driving an hour and a half. And especially where this pumpkin patch was, it was definitely a more rural path, okay? And it was a no. And so I hung up the phone. No, I ended the convo with like, are you gonna be disappointed? And he was like, yeah, I respect your wishes, but, I am gonna be a little disappointed. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. Click. And then I thought about it, and I realized how important and how much it meant to him. And that was important to me at the time too, for me to meet the kiddos and meet his dad. And so the point of all that was I ended up driving to the pumpkin patch, and that was a big deal for me, driving in the middle of nowhere, hour and a half, right? And that was one way that I can distinctly remember that I came out of my comfort zone, right? To drive there for you. And throughout our relationship and our marriage, Charles is always that one, let's go here, right? It's a random Saturday, let's travel here and just have a look, right? Let's take the kiddos, let's pack up the car. And my first instinct is like, no, we're staying home. And then normally I think about it, and I think about what the experience would mean to our kiddos. And even to me, a lot of times these experiences change me. Being uncomfortable allows for growth. And so I wasn't expecting entering my 30s to get into a relationship where I would be taken so much out of my comfort zone. But I've come to appreciate it. I'm kind of used to it now. So.
That's kind of our dynamic, isn't it?
It is.
I hit the gas and you hit the brakes.
Correct.
Right?
And that's why we work.
Okay, let's talk about what's the next question?
So the next one is, what's the hardest season we've been through together?
2.
Okay, go.
2. The first one is obviously your residency. We met at the beginning of Z's residency, and she was living an hour and a half away from us. And so every week I would drive over there on Wednesday, and we would see each other on Wednesday. I'd spend the night usually, and then come back to the town where I live over here. And then on the weekends, she would drive and stay with us at our house over here, me and the kids, or we would drive over and stay with her. And so the second half of her residency, she actually moved from a 1-bedroom to a 3-bedroom apartment. Was it 3-bedroom or two? Two.
Two,
So a
two,
2-bedroom
two,
apartment,
two.
1 bedroom to 2-bedroom
Yeah.
apartment, so that we could make a room for the kids, so that we could go over there and spend some of the weekends. But that was like 2.5, 3 years. That was a long time.
It was. And as we really got serious and when it got to the point of the kids coming over, it helped, for example, having the 2-bedroom apartment, but it wasn't a great place for the kiddos where they were most comfortable. So more so I would go to the house, I would drive to you. And I think the hardest part of that for me would be like a Sunday, right? And, you're making dinner and you're like, can you stay? But especially when it would get darker early, I'm like, no, I gotta go, I gotta prepare.
You didn't like driving in the dark either.
I didn't like driving in the dark. And I think also my mom was a little afraid
Yeah.
because the driving from where Charles was living to where I was in residency, there's a lot of rural land.
It's pretty country.
It's very country, right? So and I didn't have the newest car, my car did okay, but it wasn't the newest car. And so I would remember Sunday and I'm like, no, I can't stay for dinner. And, it just made it hard because I'd want to sit down at the table. I would want to have Sunday dinner with the kiddos and with you. Or sometimes it might be they're going out to trick or treat, or it might be the holidays time. And no, I have to head back and get ready. And so it was just hard because I felt like I was living two separate lives that somehow I was trying to push together. There was the life of being a resident with crazy hours. But then, at that point, I knew I was going to marry Charles and these were my babies. And I'm like, how do I be fully present for them, but also handle the rigorous workload of residency? We pulled through, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a testament to how much we wanted our relationship and our family to work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the second hardest is, I think, what we're doing right now. So we sold our house 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We've been living in Airbnbs. We've been living out of boxes, more or less, and waiting for this place to be done. And we're supposed to close next Friday. And so
A week away.
A week away.
Yeah.
And so hopefully in 2 weeks we'll be actually living here. So
Crazy. Does that feel real to you that we're going to be in 2 weeks that we are going to be living here? Does that feel real to you?
No, well, I would say nothing right now feels real to me. Like
What?
like we're living out of boxes in an Airbnb. So I would say that, like, I can't wait to move in here and like put down roots to where like one day I wake up and it's like, oh, this is now real.
Yeah, I can't. I know. And it looks like we're on track because I was a little worried. We did our walkthrough yesterday and there was a lot of paint and patching that need to go on. No, was it yesterday? No, it was 2 days ago we did our walkthrough. And we were just sneaking in trying to look at the updates. And I think they're gonna do it. I think we're on track. There's still some things that they have to get together before our final walkthrough, but I think for the most part, we are going to close. We're on track for
I hope so.
the 31st. You sure?
Because your husband's crazy. If they don't get it right, put it off.
What else they got to get right that you don't like?
Everything.
Everything. Anyway, I would agree. It's definitely been trying. I felt like I've had some low points, but I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I think one more rough patch, and it wasn't really rough, maybe it was more trying for me, is when we were trying to add for our family or add on our youngest one. And
you guys check out the video about that if you haven't yet. We got a couple on that one.
so prior to me, of course, my 2 bonus babies, Charles had the 2 bonus babies, and him and, his late wife, they decided at that time, don't let me speak for you, that you were going to have a vasectomy, right? And, we did all the research, and when we met and when we got together and got married, we wanted to add on, right? I love my bonus babies, but I also want to experience carrying a baby for myself. And, Charles was so sweet. He went through having vasectomy reversal. That went all well. And so I was thinking it was going to take, 2 or 3 months. And then bam, Charles was going to blink at me and baby. And it was at least a year and a half of trying, of going through multiple imaging and procedures to see if there was anything wrong fertility-wise for me and for Charles for us to conceive. And it was literally the week before I started my job, right? And at this point,
2023.
In 2023, at this point, you know, we were considering things like IVF and IUI, getting help or medical intervention. And it was the week before we were going to actually start our IUI, right? Getting some assistance. When I was like, something don't feel right. And lo and behold, I was pregnant. But it was a lot of, you know, negative pregnancy tests, maybe at least 100. And it just took a toll. And so not that it was an issue as far as our dynamic, I think it took a toll as far as labs and being hopeful and things like that. So, but it worked out.
It did.
And then maybe we do just one more.
Okay.
And then.
Hopefully not everybody's asleep yet.
Yes. Let's do this one. And this will be our final one. I knew you were the one when.
Ooh. I knew. Well, I started to suspect you were the one, actually, when you decided to come out to the pumpkin patch. You know why? Because I knew that you were coming out of your comfort zone, not something you'd normally want to do, but you did it, and you did it because you cared about me and because you were serious about us. And you made yourself get out of your comfort zone to come out and to meet my kids, to meet my dad. And I'm gonna have to put up the video of like you and our daughter from that, because I've still got that video. You know, the very first time they met. And so obviously, you know, I'm not crazy. I didn't think we were gonna get married like a month and a half into our relationship. But if I trace it back, like that was the moment that I started to think, hey, there's something here that could last.
I would agree. I don't know if it was like a aha moment. I do know there were certain moments. I knew that I really liked you for me to hop on the road in the country for an hour and a half. And I also think it was our first trip. When I met Charles, I told him that I wanted to have like a winter trip, like a holiday winter trip.
She loves Christmas.
I do. And I didn't think he was gonna plan anything, but he literally was like, let's go to Tennessee. Went to Gatlinburg. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, let's rent a cabin. I'm like, okay, sure. We're gonna really go. And he rented a cabin, he rented a car, and he was intentional. I think that's what it was. You know, I dated before and I felt like he was just truly intentional. He listened and he was trying to, incorporate me or bring me into his life. I knew how much the kiddos meant to him and he wanted me to meet the kiddos and he listened. He was very intentional is the word, right? And then I already had a feeling even before we met, because before Charles and I met, we were literally just always talking on the phone, right? And I felt like our conversations were quality conversations. They weren't superficial, just like, what is your favorite color? You like purple? I like blue, right? And as we continued with our dating, I realized when I would come home from a long day, when it was a bad day, he would be the first person I wanted to call. Or if something exciting happened or I did something right, he was the first person. Or if I was bored, he was the first person I enjoyed talking to him. And that hasn't changed, right? I know people say, you know, you get married and things change, and they do, right? It has its challenges. But that is one thing I will have to say. He's the person I want to call on my lunch break. He's the person that I will skip out of the clinic if something went wrong or I feel like, or I'm excited about something. He's the person that I want to call or text. You know, that hasn't changed. So I'm appreciative of that. But on that note, we have talked our ears off.
I was gonna mention on that same vein, when we moved in together, we realized that we weren't talking as often as we used to, because we used to spend hours on the phone. And so that's part of the reason that we decided to start our YouTube is that it it gives us a reason every week that we have to sit down and we have to collaborate together on something and have a conversation.
That's right.
And so we thought that would give us an opportunity to do, that intentional convo like we used to do.
Yeah, I agree.
Back with a long distance.
I agree. Part 2 coming up?
Yeah.
All right. But before you guys go, remember to like and subscribe down below. And if you have any additional questions for us, put it down below. We're looking at the comments and more than happy to answer for you.
This was fun. We'll do, let's do subscriber comments next time. So yeah, leave them.
All right.